I'm talking about, all I'm talking about is something that it either would have like intrinsic moral value or could have some sort of lesser well-being, right? Or like a greater
No,
well-being. That's what I define as a moral agent.
To be clear, yes, I agree that all moral agents are moral patients, but it's a case that, say, for example, there's some moral patient who doesn't have the capacity to distinguish between right and wrong. Like, I don't know, like some brain dead, like coma patient. They'd still be a moral patient, but they don't have the capacity to do moral actions.
So just reasoning. So just lacking reasoning is the distinguishing factor between these two things.
Yeah, well, lacking the no. You can say there's this person who's has every other mental faculty, but they have no way to I don't know, distinguish between right and wrong, determine what's a moral action and an immoral action.
So yeah,
hey yo, official, beat that nigga Yugi ass, okay? Lick that nigga asshole up and down, okay? Kill that nigga. Fuck is that nigga talking about?
Put this.
Yeah, but it literally just sounds to me that you're just talking about lacking the ability to reason.
No, you can have the ability to reason. What you need to lack is specifically the ability to morally reason.
Okay, I just think that's a real trivial distinction, but fine. I think it's a trivial distinction. Like,
what do you mean trivial? What do you mean by trivial distinction?
Meaning that what I was saying would still encompass that when I was talking about reasoning.
Well, yeah, obviously would include it, but it's not inclusive. But it's not particular, right? Generally, whenever we debate, we want to be very particular in the terminology that we're using, so we can understand what we're both saying. Right? You talking about some random thing, some random very broad category that happens to include what I'm saying doesn't seem to, perfectly capture whatever I'm trying to convey whenever I'm talking about these things.
Yeah, my phone died. I'm gonna switch to my PS5 mic.
Alright, cool. So, to be clear here, what I said was, yes, I agree what you're saying is inclusive of what I'm saying. I agree that what you're saying is inclusive of what I'm saying.
Who the fuck was that ugly nigga in the back?
Jesus Christ. I agree what you're saying is inclusive of what
I'm sorry,
saying.
Please do not bring the Lord's name in vain.
Is the only distinction? All right, so I think this will clear up all we need to talk about as far as this particular portion. So is the only real distinction
Captain,
that the fact that the reasoning is in contrast to morals, or is it just what's the other distinction? Is it just that the reasoning is particularly moral based? Because even then, I just feel like that follow. I just feel like that's so trivial. It doesn't even matter, to be honest with you, because that's not really what would be the discussion here. So I guess we could go into some sort of applied ethics discussion.
Applied ethics is normative ethics.
Said we can get into applied ethics.
Hey yo, Kel, shut your bald head ass up, bitch.
We're debating on your qualms with utilitarianism.
We're not debating on my qualms with utilitarianism. We were just talking about what you define it to be. I didn't say sure. You said sure. You said official. You said official. Hold on. You said official. We can. What are you? You said what are your consequences or your disagreements with utilitarianism? I said okay. Let's define what you're talking about. Right? You suggested something. Now I just wanted an understanding of your view.
Alright, cool. So you want to debate applied ethics?
Hey yo, Yugi, use a bitch, nigga. Shut your whole neck ass up, nigga. Hey yo, we jumping this nigga Yugi, bro. We violating this nigga, bro.
I don't know what your best topic is. Yugi, your ass on every single one.
You're worse than me on every single
best topic.
You're so
But that's wrong. You lost to me on Naruto.
Sure, buddy. Let's grant that you're worse than me on every single real topic.
What? Naruto's not a real. Okay, so maybe I'd be trivially worse than you on some topic that I don't study. I think that's generally what would be expected.
Didn't you study ethics? If I don't already getting blown the fuck out prior to the debate?
No, literally no. I've never studied ethics. You so niggas, you'll go and
why'd you make a distinguishment between you before and you now, and the distinguishment was
because I know more. Ethics. Because I know more.
Oh, you know more. Okay.
Yes. God. It's just conversations I've had with
you. Do you want to debate applied ethics? Do you want to debate applied ethics?
What particular topic in here? What particular topic?
We can debate abortion. We can debate veganism.
What do you want to lose on?
He said, "What's your best topic, Yugi?"
Don't worry. I'll let you choose. I'm a very nice person. I'm very good faith. I'm very linear. I want you to
and smoothie a bitch.
What? Man, shut your bitch ass.
And shout out Ice.
Your fat nose ass.
And shout out Ice.
I'll kill you.
Yeah, monkey name Ice. I'll punch on that nigga.
Yeah,
Man,
That's why
fuck
you
it.
lost.
are you gonna
That's why
choose?
you. That's why you lost. That's why you lost the grade. That's why you lost the grade yesterday, nigga.
I ain't even debate that nigga. Shut up.
Save his boyfriend, Mr. Solos, of course.
Destruction.
Alright, let's stop interrupting. Let's hear the debate, man.
Yeah, chill. So,
Fucking pop up,
what do you
bro.
want to debate? Abortion or veganism, official?
Veganism is a dumbass.
I'll let you know I'm
Where'd he
better
go?
at veganism. I'll let you know I'm better at veganism than I am at abortion.
Yeah, so Yugi, what's gonna be the thing true of the fucking dogs that are not true of human? Go ahead.
Can you name the trait, buddy?
I'm a moral particularist, so actually I prefer.
Wait, is official even here? What happened to him? Did official fucking die, bro?
Bro, he's transforming, bro. You know.
Wait, Yugi, are you like a vegan? Right? Or
Yeah, I
anti?
defend veganism.
Yeah, Yugi, I have these moral preferences to eat animals and not humans, man. I'm a moral particularist.
Oh shit. All right, so official, are you there, man?
Bro, he's transforming. Give him a second.
Went to go put a trash bag.
Now.
Went to go put a trash bag in the trash can. But yeah. So what topics did you say you wanted to do?
Abortion or veganism? Well, you know I'm better at veganism.
Oh, you're better at veganism.
You're a veganist
okay.
or not?
Yeah, I defend veganism.
So I guess I'm interested.
Yeah, sure. Buddy.
What's your view on veganism?
I'm a vegan apologist.
What does that entail?
I defend veganism.
And what does that entail?
I think everyone knows what that entails. To be clear.
You're obviously not the person that's asking.
And what does that entail?
Demar, I've never debated you in D1 server. You're just making shit up.
So you ain't think that's
Alright.
what's up.
Alright, cool. I guess we could start off with something like, why do you think it's wrong to eat
Why do I
animals?
think that it's wrong? It's causing unnecessary suffering to animals.
Like, stop
Unnecessary
eating shit,
suffering.
You're vegan.
Yeah.
Ain't you a vegan?
So when you say wrong, are you just saying there's
Like,
particularly this quality
Shut
of
the
wrongness
fuck up, Damari.
there?
Holy shit.
No. I'm just saying.
Sorry, I can't hear you over the retard pedophile springing over you. What'd you say?
Whoa!
I kind of get what you're getting at. Nah, that sounds boring. Something, we could do abortion or whatever. One of your other.
Yeah. Wait, Yugi, we might meet the middle ground. What about us, like, hunting animals? What about that?
Well, hunting.
I'm sorry, you're just
okay,
African, nigga. I'm not gonna lie to
one
you.
snake.
I think. Well, I
One
mean,
snipe,
okay,
boom.
yeah, I think. Okay, to be clear, I think hunting is wrong in most cases, but there's probably some cases of hunting where I'm okay with it.
Yeah, what if I just
so say,
snipe it, like no extra like suffering, just boom out the
I mean,
the
no, I
game.
think that I think that killing is also bad because
are you a
positive experience.
Wait, are you a utilitarian? Wait, are you a utilitarian?
I asked one.
Do you use that as to why the given thing is wrong, or do you use your objective list theory stuff?
Objective list theory is a theory of well-being, and utilitarianism, uses objective list theory specifically. It uses like a bunch of theories of well-being, but mine uses my objective list theory.
Nerd. Anyway, we could just get into talking about your position and just get like a whole
my position on what abortion or veganism.
Wait,
I mean,
official, can I ask,
veganism. If it's unappealing, we can just talk abortion.
Wait, official, can I ask you a good question if that's cool? It's a very, very quick
good,
question.
Man?
Okay, Mr. Yugi, can you hear me?
Yo, what's up?
Can you quickly do me a big? Can you please do me a very big favor, Mr. Yugi?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I just need to listen to the difference between you muted and then unmuted. Could you just quickly mute yourself?
What the fuck?
I'm not even. I'm not even being rude. I'm not even.
Oh, this fucking dickhead! Hey, shut your British ass.
Okay. There's no. Okay. First of all, there's really no need for that. Okay, that was very unnice. I'm gonna need you to apologize to me if that's okay.
Bro, you've been in the community for 8 years.
Tell him like a good boy, bro. Tell him like that,
Whoever
bro.
that guy is.
Yeah,
Shut your bum ass up. I don't give a fuck about who that guy is, bro.
I don't know what's going on here.
Wait. Sora. It's okay. Obviously, niggas will just be kunta kentes and niggers, of course. But ice.
Bro, I wish the Atlanta slave trade went fucking.
I'm just
Britain,
kindly asking for an apology if that's okay. I said nothing rude whatsoever. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, why didn't the Atlanta slave trade go to fucking UK, bro? Why?
Because you existed there, that's why. And then you had to fucking migrate.
Whatever the fuck that meant. But alright, get back to the.
It meant that you were not
welcome.
welcome.
We'll get back to
person.
very
What do you think it means?
linear discussion.
I don't think you understand what that means, but it basically is meaning that you are just not welcome anywhere.
Okay, you win. Okay, you win. You win. You win. Okay, you win. Let's get to the debate.
Who is
Y'all
whispering
win.
down there?
Y'all win. You
Under what
win.
conditions?
Debate.
Under what conditions is it wrong to eat animals and why?
If it's causing unnecessary suffering, because it's causing.
If it's
unnecessary
causing,
suffering.
so unnecessary self harm.
No unnecessary suffering.
Self harm.
Oh, okay. So sorry, my mic. So unnecessary self harm.
No.
Oh, nigga.
What the fuck?
Why
am I hearing
you-
that? Why am
how
I
is you-
hearing that, bro?
Okay,
Like what?
official, how is you hurting the animal? Like why? What?
I don't know. I kept hearing self harm,
He's
bro. I
saying
kept hearing self harm.
unnecessary harm. You're causing
Oh, okay.
animal unnecessary harm. Yeah.
Well, no, not harm specifically.
unnecessary.
Suffering. Very, very
Oh,
specifically suffering.
Or whatever the fuck. Yeah, suffering. Sorry.
Unnecessary.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is unnecessary.
Well, that you don't need to do it, obviously.
We are.
You don't need to cause this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, say there's some scenario where, like, I don't know, someone's like starving to death. The only food source they have is like a pig. You know, they can kill the pig and cut it up and eat it. You know, I'd be okay with that. But
So
in
when
most
we
cases,
say,
I think it's probably.
I don't think I heard why. Okay, so you're saying just causing this suffering, and you don't need to cause suffering, right?
Yeah, suffering
means
is
that
terminally
it's wrong. So it means it's wrong, and that we're
suffering is terminally
bad at
bad.
doing it. Terminally bad.
Suffering is terminally bad. Yeah.
Usually terminal refers to like other things. What do you mean terminally bad?
Intrinsic.
Oh wow.
Intrinsic. This is gonna be. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. We're gonna have to go over like all these definitions before I actually give. An
Oh
argument,
my.
So we're gonna be here a minute.
It's okay. I can give you definitions for the terms I'm using.
Yeah, I'm just saying because like that's the type of debater I am. I usually go over the definitions, right, and then I'll go into like the actual substance of it. Okay, so terminally bad is just something intrinsic.
Yeah, I can
bad.
see.
Is that what you're saying?
He said he confused me.
Sorry, someone spoke over you.
Did you say?
Yeah,
did you
I
say
don't
that
believe
you
it like they
saying that
asked me.
something being terminally bad is just something that's intrinsically bad? And how do we determine if something is intrinsically bad?
I'm finna go kill myself.
Well, to be clear, the way that we determine that suffering is intrinsically bad is it's just analytic.
Oh, okay. So you're just saying like, okay, this thing causes suffering when it happens, therefore it'd be considered bad. Well, I don't think inherently
and
causing
suffering
suffering. I don't think
suffering is
inherently
terminally
causing
bad.
suffering is bad. I don't think inherently causing suffering.
I mean, I agree.
Bad.
Like, I agree if there's more positivity like gain than negativity, then trivially it's a better action.
So like utility.
Yeah, obviously I'm a utilitarian.
Well, like okay, so I'm not a utilitarian, but I don't think that so matters. But wouldn't us continuing to like eat meat and all of that maximize utility for like society?
No.
I think it wouldn't.
No, because there's ways to substitute all the benefits that you get from meat.
But do we know? Okay. Oh, so you're just saying like, oh, there's alternatives, where we could feel the same, or maximize utility in the same sense as we would if we had meat.
Yeah, we can get the same benefits, given we don't eat meat. And hence,
well, I don't know.
Because of that, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary if we can substitute it, obviously.
Okay, so when you just say, are you appealing to like logical possibilities, or are you just like, what are we doing here?
No, there's like substitute. We can take like pills and stuff to substitute all the nutrients, so we get there's a bunch.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm more so talking about like the pleasure people gain from like eating meat and stuff like that. I don't see how you can gauge. Because I don't see how you can gauge. You have other stuff you can do. I don't see how you can gauge that. These things are gonna provide the same type of utility just because you can achieve like I guess I don't think there's anything wrong with me granting that you can achieve maybe the nutrients. I don't know if that's conclusively true. So if it's the case that's true, or whether it's not, like I don't see how you can justify that, because if all of that
are you just asking me how I have epistemic access to how much pleasure? Are you just asking me how I have epistemic access to how much pleasure is caused whenever someone eats meat?
No, I'm just asking you to prove to me definitively it'd be the case that society uh would actually maximize utility if they substituted all the meat eating for like vegetable or just like
Well,
veganism
well,
or
real
whatever.
quick, say there's like a bunch of factory farms, right? And these factory farms are like farming Middle Eastern people, and all these Middle Eastern
And
people are
niggers.
being all these Middle Eastern people are getting like raped, and then whenever they get raped, they breed, they give birth, and then eventually they're cut up and they're eaten, and they're served on a plate for you. Which one do you think is more important there? The pleasure of the people that are eating the meat, or the people that are getting like raped, cut up, eaten, etc., etc.
The pleasure of the people. Now, personally, uh I just feel like, oh yeah, I think raping people and all that other stuff for that purpose and stuff like that, to me, I guess it would seem bad. But as far as like the whole like utility thing, under your scenario, I feel like you would say that, oh, it's still a good action or a good thing to do just because we preserved the utility uh
No,
because
no,
we
obviously
preserved the
not.
utility of like the majority.
What do you think? What do you think utility means?
Utility? Well, didn't you did it down to just like well-being?
Yeah, it's overall well-being, and we would also factor in the well-being of these people who are getting raped.
Okay, so factoring in all this people, like, okay, so is it the majority of the people or the minority of the people who are getting like raped and all this other stuff?
It's the minority, but this minority is suffering way, way more than the overall amount of people are gaining pleasure from their suffering.
Okay, so in that specific scenario, all that seems to boil down to is like, a under that scenario, because you're saying that it's true that these things happen. That I guess it didn't maximize utility for those people, but I don't think
They
that
didn't
answers
maximize
the
utility
question.
overall.
Wait, yeah, so I don't think it answers the question, which is like, okay, why is it the case that if we hypothetically substituted the meat eating for like a majority, like uh
hmm
oh
And then I
yeah,
can just
that it
ask
would
you
just like
this.
maximize utility. It maximized utility, and even then, like I don't think that conclusively means that this thing is either good or bad. But that's another type of like
Well, I mean, I can just ask
that's
you
another
this.
thing.
Do you think, say, I don't know, we're in some scenario where, like a scenario like the last one where, there's like a group of Middle Eastern people that are all getting raped, cut up, and then eaten. And then say there's some other society where everyone's supplementing the meat that they get from, these Middle Eastern people, and no Middle Eastern person is getting raped. But everyone's getting the exact same amount of well-being
What?
from, so everyone's getting the exact
It's
same amount of
very
well-being,
long.
just in absence of the rape here. Which
To
society do you think is better overall?
you gotta go over the societies, and if you could keep it a little bit more concise.
Yeah, so the
I'm
societies,
doing
one,
stuff.
there's a bunch of rape and factory farming, and the other, there's not, and people substitute.
Okay, so one, there's a society where people are raping, and then another one where they're not raping, and then everybody's just feeling good.
Okay, so there's one where they're raping a bunch of Middle Eastern people and factory farming them and serving them to people. And the other one where they're
Okay.
not, and people are just substituting the meat they would get from those Middle Eastern people.
Now, them substituting that meat, uh,
I just wanted to answer to my question.
just repeat the question one more time, because my answer
The
might
question
change.
was those two societies, which one has the better overall well-being?
Yeah, and one of them is just factories raping and using that meat and stuff like that to give to the
Mhm.
general populace. And
Yup.
the other one doesn't do that, and the people of the majority of the populace like just eat vegetables or whatever.
Yeah, the
Now,
majority of the populace is eating like vegetables, tofu, lab grown stuff, etc., and taking like pills to substitute all like the nutrients that they lack in.
well, what are we defining as like better?
Just one that has like higher overall well-being.
Oh, well, that's the distinction that we have here. That's going to be a fundamental distinction, because I think like a majority of like well-being doesn't inherently make like a society better than another one as far as
What do
like
you mean by
morally,
well-being?
because again, well-being.
Yeah, what do you think well-being
Well,
is?
I'll just appeal to your denotation.
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
I think
So
we have a similar one.
Yeah. So my definition of well-being is just, overall, pleasure, overall knowledge, and overall respect of other people's
so
autonomy.
would you? Okay, so do you gauge like okay, so let's say a scenario where like we have somebody working out. Now, I'd say like okay, they're gonna feel a lot of pain and stuff like that. People uh takes a specific mindset and stuff like that to work out. Now, because they're gonna be feeling more pain during pleasure during this time. Now, I still think we would say like, oh, this thing is conducive towards like this person's overall health. Now, a person being overall healthy and doing things to make themselves overall healthy, do you think that follows in the category of being like a good or bad action, regardless of like I'm not even gonna say regardless
Yeah,
of
I
the
think
utility?
working out.
Yeah, okay, so would you base that off of like the potential utility that they would have gained, or would you gauge that off of some other quality?
It's based off of the benefits to the health. Health is a part of well-being.
Well, but at the initial moment, they're causing more pleasure. They're causing
Well,
more
yeah,
pain
obviously,
than they are pleasure.
utilitarianism isn't deontic; it's consequentialist.
Okay, so you're just saying so the ends and stuff like that justifies the means.
Yeah, exactly. You understand?
Okay, but we can see a scenario where it's like, okay, the means to get to the end. I guess I'll just draw back like some sort of like Nazi,
The
like a
means are worse
Nazi.
than the end. The means are worse than the ends.
Well, just draw back scenarios in society. Like, okay, we see like Hitler, all those people. I think, I think I'd say something like, okay, this thing would be wrong regardless of like whatever well-being, because we would never say something like, oh, because a majority of the populace in Germany and stuff did this particular action and stuff like that, and I guess maximize utility, that it would be like a morally right or wrong action.
I
But
don't even think
even
that.
then, we still imagine, it's very conceivable that we could see a scenario where utility is achieved in a sense
Yeah.
where people have like I guess I'm gonna say positive and negative, positive valences or whatever.
Would you
Uh,
allow one Holocaust to happen to stop two Holocausts from happening in the future?
would I allow one Holocaust to happen to stop two to happen in the future?
Yeah. Like, say
Well,
there's like
me
6 million
personally,
Jews. Sorry, say there's like 6 million people that die in one. If you allow this 6 million people to die, then 12 million people will survive in the future. If you bite this bullet, this is
no.
fucking insane. Everyone's gonna look at you like you're crazy.
So I'm not gonna lie, like I don't think like, okay, so let's say we have more people dying and me causing the other people die. I guess overall, I'm put in a situation where it's like, hey, if I choose not to save these other people to prevent another from happening, even though I had the power to stop the mass people, I guess I'd feel bad. But would I say that it was a bad action for me not uh to not sacrifice the one people? I don't think it would be.
Obviously, it's a
No,
bad
I don't think
action
it's
to
bad.
sacrifice 12 million.
No,
Obviously, it's a bad action to sacrifice 6 million more people. What the fuck?
no, it's. I don't agree with
Do you
that.
think inaction is a type of action?
Do I think an action is a type of
No, no, no.
action?
Do you think inaction is a type of action? If you don't act, are you choosing to do something there?
Oh, so if you don't act, that is inherently
It's a type of
like an
action because you're
action.
choosing not to act here, right? So what you're
Well,
doing here is you're choosing to let six
in this
million.
particular context,
What you're doing here is you're choosing to let 6 million extra people die.
shoot, no, you just said in the example that I could rather save this one Holocaust from happening, or I could let this Holocaust happen, then two more never happen, right?
No, two more happen. If you allow one to happen, then two more don't happen. If you don't allow it to happen, then
Okay.
then two more don't happen. So like say
So
I
if
don't know, like say like there's a button in front of you, right? It's like a red button or a blue button. One says let one Holocaust happen and stop two in the future, or stop this one right now and let two happen in the future.
What happens if I don't let the first Holocaust happen?
If you don't let the first one happen, then two will happen in the future.
I don't let the first one happen, and then 2, and all I have to do is press this button.
Yeah,
I don't
have
think
2
I
buttons
can.
in front of you. Allow 2
Well,
holocausts to happen, or allow 1 to
I don't
happen.
think like simply saving, I guess, more people makes an action right or wrong. But I think the Holocaust. I do think
You
the
don't think letting
Holocaust is like a wrong thing.
You don't think saving 6 million extra people is a good action?
To certain people, it would seem so, but I don't think it means.
Do you think anyone's moral intuition is aligned with that? You look insane right now. No one
I don't
agrees
think I
with
look
you.
insane. Only a utilitarian, I feel like, would say like, oh, because I think that if I
most
choose
people are
to say,
utilitarian.
well, I don't agree with that, but I don't see why it's the case that these 6 million people's lives aren't just as valuable as like those other people's lives.
Because they're just as valuable. You know, all lives are equally valuable.
If they're
I can
just
agree
as
to
valuable,
that.
wait,
Sorry,
if there's
let me finish. Sorry,
What?
official, let me finish. I agree. Everyone's lives are equally as valuable. That's why if I can save 2 times the amount of people, it's 2 times as good of an action now, isn't it?
Well, I don't. Well, if you save more people and like let's say like these people's lives are equal as far as like how I value them, but uh as far as like objectively more morally valuable, uh
Wait, just a quick question.
yeah, I
Do you
just
think 2
don't
is a
see
bigger
it.
number
I
than
don't
1?
see it.
Do you think 2 is a bigger number than 1?
Sure, 2 is a bigger number than 1, but just because I'm
Perfect. Okay,
stopping,
so
just because okay, but that doesn't prove what you're saying. Like, okay, so I could
yes, it does
even if
trivially.
it doesn't.
So do you think 2 holocausts are worse than 1 holocaust? Do you think 2 is a bigger number than 1 here?
I think that Hitler's causing more pain and just like doing more wrong.
Okay, if he's causing more pain, don't we want to like have people cause less pain? Isn't that something that you feel you have some moral obligation to do internally?
To maximize good. I think we have a moral obligation to maximize good, but I don't think we could say it's a good action or it's justified for me to kill 6 million people just so 12
You're
million
killing.
people survive. Like
The option
that
here is
still
kill
seems
6
wrong.
million people indirectly or kill 12 million people indirectly. Again, you already agreed that inaction is an action.
Oh, you said
choosing not. Again, you agree.
You said it's
Again,
indirectly.
Yeah. Again, you agreed. Again, you agreed. Inaction is an action.
You said that if I don't, you said that if I don't act, then only okay. So you said if I don't act, then multiple holocausts happening. But if I stop this particular, stop this particular holocaust. Oh no, you said if I allow the holocaust, then
if you
2
allow
more.
1 to happen, then 2 extra ones don't. You either
Allow
save 6
1
million.
holocaust.
You either save 6 million people and 12 million people die in the future, or you allow those 6 million people to die and then 12 million people are saved in the future. Again, is 6 or 12 a bigger number?
Yeah. Okay. So them being a bigger number doesn't mean that there's more or less. There just means there's more suffering. Bro, okay, so more suffering does not equate to the action being morally more justifiable.
We don't even have to. We don't even have to appeal to suffering here. You already agreed. All lives are equally as valuable. So if there's more lives to save, then that's a more valuable action.
I feel these things are equally valuable.
Yeah, and you agreed to me whenever I gave you the example.
No, I said I feel this thing, not that it's objectively more.
It doesn't even have to be objective. It doesn't have to be objective. You can be subjectivist and agree with me right now. So again, I'm going to ask you: not a 16?
Wait, hold on. If you're just saying subjectively, oh my god, if it's subjective, all you're just saying is which action maximizes utility. We already go over utility not being what makes something good or bad.
We never went over that. At any point in the conversation,
we did. We literally did.
Sorry, what was your refutation to utility? What was your refutation to utility?
I should to justify being what makes something right or wrong.
Yeah, sure. So whenever,
that's literally a presupposition. Like, what the fuck?
So whenever,
good or bad?
Sorry. Shut the fuck up, official. You just asked me a question, retard.
What the fuck,
so
nigga? What's your lip, ugly nigga? What the fuck?
Whenever I ask myself what good or bad means, it seems like it always cashes out in some form of well-being. Like, I don't know, it's pretty bad whenever I don't get to eat. If I don't get to eat, even if I don't have any pleasure states there, it's the case that my well-being is being minimized there. So it'd be better if I did get to eat. Whenever I'm thinking about children in Africa, I'm not really considering if they're happy or not. I'm considering what is their well-being like, and they have really, really shitty well-being in Africa because they don't get to fucking eat, they don't have clean water, and so it's a bad thing that's happening. So whenever I use the word bad, obviously it's because I'm referring to well-being there.
Okay, yeah, no. So you drawing scenarios, we have to get into like all of those specific scenarios since you wanted to like go on a 5-minute tangent. But let's say hypothetically if we have like 5 scenarios that we observe where I guess we'd feel that I guess I'm gonna word this, people suffering more or just like less suffering. It still doesn't seem to prove, right, that these things there's an identity relation, right? Because there can be aspects of things that are achieved in a scenario where you do something good. Let's say if I give $2 million to like a bunch of homeless people. Now that can be looked at, or that can just I guess maximize utility in the sense of that these people are going to be doing better, and we have like
Hey, yo,
a
Martin,
lower amount
use
of
a
people who
bitch.
are having less
Tron.
suffering. I don't see how that proves that it's the case that these things are identical, rather than it just being that are just being in most cases. No, rather than it just being that in a lot of cases that we've conceived of at this moment, that when utility is achieved, that it might or may not be a good action. But we can already imagine scenarios where utility is achieved for the majority, and we'd still say it's a wrong action. So in not all cases is maximizing utility going to be what makes something right or wrong. So there cannot be an identity relation.
Wait, real quick. Do you think if you ask a utilitarian a question like, would you rather have 1,000 people get pricked on the finger?
Do you disagree or agree?
Shut
if
the
it's
fuck
the case
up.
that it's possible in some world for utility to be achieved and it not be what decides this thing and being right or wrong.
No, I think analytically, if something is morally good, then it maximizes utility.
Okay, so you can think. Okay, analytically, right? You're just appealing to the denotation.
So,
we don't have no.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Is that just like a subjective like is that like your own definition?
If you ask
like,
yourself,
it doesn't matter.
if you ask yourself what you mean by good, I'll give you a thought experiment again. Whenever I'm
good,
asking
it's just
myself,
something you should act in accordance, and it also represents. It represents the category which things fall into.
Holy shit, you're talking like a virtue ethicist. This is so retarded. So, to be clear, why do you think that disagrees with what I said? I agree we should act in a way that maximizes utility. I agree with that. What's the problem?
That's not what's being said here. So what we disagree is the fact that good and bad are identically the same as utility. Because we can see a scenario where if we have all of society torturing the minority, right, and they're all gaining more positive valences and stuff like that, or utility, right? We wouldn't say that this is a right thing. This is something that people should act in accordance with, which is good. Because when we say something is good, we're saying that you should act in accordance with. Nobody is going to say that you should act in accordance with torturing this minority because the majority would feel better because they just like torturing and murdering and raping people. That's obviously stupid and reason to believe that it's not just going to fall into the category of just being utility. Right? We don't know that these things are the same. And you claiming that they are the same isn't an argument for why they're the same. And you saying most cases that you can think of isn't an argument for what you're saying.
What is this shotgun?
You're trying to provide supporting evidence.
This is the worst fucking shotgun I've ever seen in my life. Jesus
It's really
Christ.
not. It's really not. You go on for like.
Just to be clear here. So, wait, when have I shotgun once
really
in this conversation? Actually, I won't get into this shit.
Really
So to be clear here, do you think it's the case? Can you shut the fuck up, retard? Holy shit.
Ugly face ass up. Faggot-tron.
So, just to be clear here, do you think that if it were the case...
I understand that you want to be clear. It's just like that's not really conveying your words properly. So can you please say the argument, bitch?
Holy fuck. Can someone mute the retard? Oh my god, I'm trying to have a debate here.
So I think
Alright, nigger, shut the fuck up.
I think good is something that...
Can you just mute everyone? Can you just mute everyone that's not debating? I know what you said, official.
I don't have
what you said, retard. Shut the fuck up.
And it's also something you should act in accordance with. Not positive valence.
I agree those are features. I agree those are features of goodness. I agree. So, to be clear here, do you think if it were the case
why is there an
identity
relation? Why is there an identity relation?
Holy
and it being
shit,
necessary?
Can I please get a point out? This guy's just shotgunning. This is like the worst gish gallop I've ever seen. So, to be clear here, do you think if it were the case that we could torture 1% of the population and the rest of the population would have perfect well-being for the rest of their lives? Like, as in, like, they'll always have food whenever they need it. They'll, like, no rape ever will ever occur. No murder will ever occur. Nothing bad ever will happen. And for the rest of everyone else's lives, actually for the rest of the fucking world's existence, nothing bad will ever happen again. Everyone just have perfect well-being. Do you think it would be a bad thing for us to torture that 1% of the population?
For us to torture one person, I don't think it's justified for us to sacrifice. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think it's justified for us to torture this one person for the sake of other people not going through that other thing. Like,
wait, you think?
No.
Are you fucking crazy?
No, I'm not crazy.
So you think you wouldn't give up a perfect world in exchange for like torturing one person for the rest of their life? You wouldn't give a perfect world for that. Like wait.
Do you think that
do you think that Christianity is immoral? You're a Christian, right?
I think Christianity isn't moral. No.
You're a Christian, right? You're Christianity, right? You're a Christian, right?
No. Yes, I'm a Christian.
Okay, perfect. Do you think crucifying Jesus was a bad action?
I think crucifying Jesus, as in him dying for all of our sins?
Yeah, Jesus facing all of God's wrath for all of our sins whenever he was crucified on the cross. Do you think that was a bad thing?
I think he did that for the purpose of releasing us of all our sins and trying to like bless us, and because he loves us. But do I think it's a bad action?
He was doing it for the possibility of us getting into heaven, right?
For the possibility, for us to
because we couldn't get into heaven before, right? Because we were sinful.
Okay, so if he's doing it so we can get into heaven,
then shit, perfect. And what's heaven?
What's heaven?
Oh my god!
You don't know what heaven is? Okay, we can just say it's an eternal.
I know what heaven is. It's an eternal paradise with perfect well-being. No one ever suffers. Everyone is always happy, right?
Yeah, so it's an eternal paradise.
So crucifying Jesus was good there, right? So you just disagreed with your own response to my analogy.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I can explain why. So him.
So what's the symmetry breaker? What's the symmetry breaker?
Okay. The symmetry breaker. You didn't even prove that the goodness in that action was just because he maxed utility. Nobody's disagreeing that a good action and stuff like that. Probably in like a lot of cases. The reason the action was good because it allows us into heaven, right? Allows us into heaven? No.
You don't think the reason that Jesus did that was to allow us into heaven? You don't think that?
I think that he did it. I think he did it to allow us heaven, but I don't think the goodness of it was just a utility.
Perfect. And you agree that Jesus does good actions, right?
Jesus does good actions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jesus does good actions.
Perfect. Jesus does good actions. And so to be clear here, Jesus allowing us into heaven was a good action.
Because close to God. Yeah, okay, so he does good actions because he talks to God.
I just want a yes or no answer.
He talks to God, and God is going to tell him like what the good actions are.
I just want a yes or no answer, retard.
What's the yes or no question?
The yes or no question was Jesus allowing us into heaven was a good action, right?
Yes, that's a good action.
And so him getting one person suffering as in one
allowing us. Oh my God! So as in allowing us to achieve this eternal paradise, or for those who are deserving of it. Yeah, I think that's a good action.
So one person suffering as in facing God's wrath.
I'd say a wrong action was just doing something undeserving of someone to another.
We can conclude right now. I think everyone understands that I just won.
What the fuck? Are you stupid?
You just agreed to my entire point.
Man, this nigga gotta be
No, I didn't. I literally did it. You're
delusional. So what's the symmetry breaker?
You didn't provide something that leads to your conclusion. As far as a symmetry breaker, it's the fact that we don't know. I mean, I guess I can't say something that we don't know is going to be a symmetry breaker. We just don't know if utility makes the thing good or bad.
But you agree that Jesus getting crucified and facing all of God's wrath and suffering was good because it allows us into heaven, which is a perfect paradise. Forever.
What I agreed to was that him making it so that those deserving of heaven,
conceded that,
right, can get into heaven. But the fact that him, what's his name, taking all suffering for everybody and stuff like that, do I think that it deserved to happen to Jesus, or like that deserved to happen?
No, I'm not asking you if Jesus deserved it. I'm asking you if it was a good action.
If a good action to who? Or are you just saying the event itself was a good action?
Yeah, do you agree that Jesus allowing himself to get crucified so everyone could get into heaven was a good action?
Do you think every event has a good or bad quality?
I think every morally relevant event has a good or bad quality.
Okay.
Surely you don't disagree that the crucifixion. Surely you don't disagree that the crucifixion was morally relevant.
I think what I'm more so disagreeing, or I just don't see, is how we can gauge whether this person dying on the cross, whether this person just dying on the cross or whatever and stuff like that is going to be like a morally good or bad action. I could say like the people who are doing stuff to Jesus and like doing all of this and stuff like that, yeah, are bad. Like they're beating him. He's doing all this, but he's doing this because he loves people. He loves the children of God. So I think that's a good action because he's doing things for God. He's doing these things, right?
Mm-hmm. So just to be clear, how does that respond to what I said?
What is the argument being given here?
The argument is, if you agree that the crucifixion was morally relevant, the crucifixion was morally good because it allows people to heaven being an infinite paradise in which everyone never suffers and everyone else has positivity. It'd be the case that, if you agree that this is a morally good action, then someone else doing something similar to allow people to, an infinite paradise in which no one ever suffers would also be a good action. Therefore, to be the case that you'd be agreeing to my.
No, I think it's a good action. Yeah, I do think it's a good action, but not because of utility.
So you think it's a good action, but you think... Wait, so where do you think the goodness comes from? Just because God told him to do it?
So what do you think the goodness...
God told him to do it? I mean, I think in all cases, if God tells you to do something, it's a good thing. God doesn't tell you...
If God told you to rape your mother right now, would you rape your mother?
If God told me to rape my mother?
Yeah, if God told you to rape your mother right now, would you rape your mother?
God only says good things. But
it's a hypothetical retard.
This is like a whole, like...
If God told you to murder 5 people, would you murder 5 people right now?
Okay, so sure. Even if I held to that, right? Hypothetically, if I held to that, does this prove what you're saying?
Well, I'm just, clearly posing some inconsistency in your view because you don't think raping your mother is a good action. You don't think that, and your answer actually proved that because you said that.
I mean, God has a moral standard. Hold on, listen.
Let me speak. Let me finish my point. You're trying to.
God has a higher capacity for moral reasoning because He's perfect, right? I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. Anyway,
you literally lost.
So God only says good action. No, God only says good things. So if He hypothetically told me to do it, it could be for like a good reason or whatever. But I don't think God would say that.
You don't think God would say that.
Like, so my intuitions. Wait, listen. I can have intuitions that just don't in line with God because I'm a sinful being, right? That doesn't prove. That doesn't prove. Like, okay, sure, something can be unintuitive to other Christians. What we're talking about is if utility is good or bad. Now we know there's scenarios where utility is achieved, right? And it's not what makes the thing good.
I understand.
Right?
I get it. I hear you. So. I'll just ask you this one question. Just one question. Crazy fucking question here, okay?
So what proved utility is the same thing?
Is one a smaller number than all of the rest of the people that will ever exist and go to heaven?
Is one a smaller number than all the people who would exist in heaven? Duh. Oh my God.
Oh shit! And
that doesn't matter.
Utilitarianism seems to state that the things which are good for the most amount of people are things which are good. Wow! So it's almost like if God says that sacrificing one person to save the rest of society is a good action, then it seems like God's making some utilitarian judgment here. Now, doesn't it?
No, it could just be this particular action did maximize.
But it's still a utilitarian judgment, right? It's still a utilitarian judgment, right?
It's not. That's an argument.
How is it not a utilitarian judgment?
Because there's nothing proving conclusively that it is. That's like a burden shit.
As in, wait,
you said that. Wait, listen. You said it's not. It's not. Okay, so you said that because God said like, oh, you should do this thing, right? And I guess utility is achieved. That therefore means that God is a utilitarian. No, I can make an action that I can. Oh my God, listen. I can make a good action, right? And utility be achieved, and that not being the deciding factor. Right? You're not proving your.
I never said.
You said that He's making a utilitarian judgment.
Yeah, I can make a utilitarian judgment. And not be a utilitarian. I can be a pluralist.
You're not proving that it's utilitarian just because utility is achieved in this scenario. You're not proving that that's the reason behind why this thing is a good action, or why God believes this thing is a good action, or why He knows it.
Do you think God told Jesus to go down and get crucified so all of his
I
children,
think
which
he
are-
told.
Holy shit!
I think he told.
Can I finish my
I'm gonna answer your question.
retard? You
I
can't
think
answer a
he
question you
told
haven't
him
fucking heard.
Why
to
is he trying to
achieve
get
a
loud?
specific
Why
goal.
is he trying to
Exactly.
get
You're trying to
loud?
get
You can't
loud.
answer
Lower
a
your
question you
fucking
haven't
mic,
fucking
you
heard, retard.
You literally
Yeah, you
asked me
better
the
lower
reason
your
between
fucking
God's
microphone, nigga. What
decision
the
No,
making,
no,
and I
no,
said
no,
it
no,
was
no, no, no,
for the
no, no,
end
no,
goal.
no, 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 no,
I
no.
believe
I'm
he has
asking you
the
a question.
ultimate
You
plan.
can't answer a question you haven't heard. So to
I
be
I
clear
literally
here,
heard your question.
wait, what was my question?
Your question was basically the reasoning behind why God, what's his name, chose to do this said thing. I said he can choose to do this said thing
That wasn't
for
the
the
entire
end goal,
question.
which is his
That was
big
a part
plan.
of the question.
But it answers the question and all that's
No, it
needed to
doesn't.
respond to.
No,
It does.
doesn't. No,
It does.
doesn't.
It definitely does.
You would understand why it doesn't if you let me finish the question. Okay? So the question was, in full, what is the reasoning behind the specific action, if not to allow all of God's children into heaven so they can have an eternal paradise?
Was it so they could have an eternal paradise?
Yeah. Not all of them. Oh,
Jesus.
Sorry.
Well, Jesus sacrificing himself. Jesus sacrificing himself. He wanted people to achieve that, be able to achieve heaven. Yeah, he wanted people to achieve heaven.
So you agree the reason he did it was so people who are deserving of it could get into heaven?
People who are deserving of it. Yeah, people who are deserving of it can get into heaven.
Perfect.
Yes.
Great. We agree. That's fucking great.
We agree that he wants people deserving.
How is this a non-utilitarian judgment?
Why is it a utilitarian judgment?
Because it's sacrificing one for the overall utility of
But we go over that somebody cannot be a utilitarian and not even know
yes,
of that particular
I'm saying
concept
it's a utilitarian
and still
judgment,
achieve that.
not that he's a utilitarian retard.
Wait, hold on. Listen. What do you? Okay, so you think that just because I do something that what's the name maximize utility, it's a utilitarian judgment?
If you make a judgment about maximizing utility, morally speaking, it is
utilitarian. No, if I make an action, if I do an action, right, or I use it, I do a specific action for a specific purpose and utility is achieved, that's a utilitarian judgment conclusively?
If the reason the goodness was achieved here was because it's the maximum amount of well-being for the most
okay,
amount
so
of people,
if it's the oh my god judgment. I'm not sure if you're answering the question.
I did answer the question.
I'm gonna ask it one more time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it the case that if somebody does something like, okay, let people get into the heaven to gain eternal paradise if they're justified, like let's say if you deserve to go to heaven, he wanted to give people this opportunity because they deserve it, and in this specific place you'd be eternally happy. Does that mean that somehow the reasoning by he's doing this is just so people is just so he can maximize utility for the specific few? Why is it not the case that he's doing this thing because they're deserving of it, and that's also a property of being good, doing things that people are deserving of, right?
That's right, you bitch ass nigga.
The deserving people would be the
because people are. Would you agree that people are deserving? Wait, listen.
Can I fucking respond, retard?
People are deserving of having good things. People are observing of having access to good things, right? Like everybody who comes into this world, right, is going to be deserving of this good. We don't just come into the world just like this sin.
So
you realize that, right?
Do you agree that the deserving people are the group which are allowed into heaven, and the deserving people are the people who deserve to get into heaven? You would agree with that, right?
People who deserve. Oh, no, nobody's gonna disagree. People who deserve to get into heaven.
Perfect. We understand.
How do we gauge?
So here we agree.
So do you understand how we gauge how people can get into heaven? Is because they follow God's word, and God's word is good.
This guy.
Where are we getting that utility is what God says is good? Where are we getting that?
Did God sacrifice one person for the overall well-being of the children who deserve it?
Jesus sacrificed his
Is
well-being
Jesus not a person?
for a lot.
Is Jesus not a person?
Okay, so Jesus sacrificed himself for for some well-being and good. He just sacrificed himself for what he believed in was like overall good.
He sacrificed himself so the overall aggregate of those who deserve to get into heaven could get into heaven, right?
People who are deserving of heaven would be able to get into heaven. Yeah.
And so what's the symmetry breaker between this and a utilitarian judgment?
Okay, so utilitarian judgment. Okay, so utilitarian judgment would just be primarily basing your judgment of, like, I guess, the morality of an event based off of, like, the well-being. In this particular scenario, we don't know if it's just based off of some well-being. Why not based off of these other things like God's word? Because God is what makes things good.
Why else would he let people into heaven?
Why else would he let people into heaven?
Yeah, what's the difference between heaven and hell under your thesis?
The difference between heaven and hell, the relevancy here.
By the devil.
Is it not just one, the people who go to hell suffer and they don't get to be close to God, and the other one,
no, that's not the only. That's not the only. That's not the only distinction. Well, that would just depend on the person, but I think the relevant distinctions are like all the qualities.
You're already getting fucked by the devil, nigga.
Can I get an answer? What do you think the relevant distinction is? If not, people suffer in one and they're not close to God in one.
I think
and the other one
a relevant distinction to me. Oh my God, a relevant distinction to me would just be that which would make the things not identical.
I'm asking you what the relevant distinction is here. I know what a relevant distinction is.
You stupid faggot.
Yeah, I'm giving you what I think it is.
You just told me what a relevant distinction is.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that heaven and hell have relevant distinctions. Like,
I'm asking you what they are, retard.
One is that you deserve to go this place, and other things are happening at those particular places.
Certain
and the reasoning behind how you go there. Yeah. Certain things are true of these places.
What are the things that are happening? Like, what are the different things that are happening in these two places?
Okay, well, people go whole ass up, nigga.
People who are forsaking God are going down there. There's a lot of different.
And what happens whenever they go down there?
Ultimately, people who are just bad or have done something bad enough, stuff like that, or just forsake God themselves, go down there. Like, if you just
and what happens whenever they go down there?
They get butchered, they burn.
Shit! They suffer? Holy shit! And what happens to people who believe in God and they go to heaven? What happens to them?
Sound like a bitch.
What happens to them? They have an eternal paradise.
And they're happy, right? Holy shit, they're having pleasure, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. But I think it's eternal paradise.
To be clear, all you're saying here, like the relevant distinction you're giving is like the people that are going there, but then there's also another relevant distinction. I mean, what happens to those people, and what happens to those people would be more.
Like we'd never have like epistemic access to all the things that are heaven because we haven't been there, right? Like all that we know of heaven is that it's like an eternal paradise and a couple other things like.
Why is he laughing like that?
Like, what the fuck? There can be like all different things there. What's so funny?
Holy shit, man!
And neither does this
sound like a Down syndrome patient.
How is it relevant? Because we're going over the distinctions between utility and good, and it seems to be the case. No, it seems to be the case. It seems to be the case that you can't prove to me conclusively that good is just maximizing the positive valences, right? And I already put in a question saying, huh?
Why is heaven good?
Because why is heaven good?
Mm-hmm. What makes heaven good and bad?
God making heaven good?
Did God not... sorry, so the thing that makes
God
heaven
created
good
heaven.
Oh, and okay, so God created heaven. And, what are the things that are in heaven that make it desirable?
That make it desirable to us?
Mm-hmm.
That would just vary person to person. Me personally, probably like the eternal paradise aspect.
Perfect. Okay, and what makes hell undesirable?
Hell undesirable? Well, you're going to this place that is supposed to be just like very, very bad, causes you like harm. There's a lot of things that people just wouldn't want to experience.
Hell, right? You're gonna suffer in hell, right?
Yeah, you'll suffer in hell. But does that mean you suffering in hell is inherently what makes the whole thing bad? I don't think so. That's a question, Beck. You just affirm the consequence every single time.
No, retard. The question was, what makes hell bad? And you just said, what makes hell undesirable? Do you think undesirability and badness are different?
Okay, so what makes hell bad?
You know what valences are? Do you know what
Oh,
Bait looks like?
particularly what makes hell bad. I don't know if I want to say because the devil made it, because I think that's something
That's not
I don't
true.
think a lot of people would say. Particularly what makes hell bad.
God made hell.
God made hell. I don't.
Yeah.
Did God make hell? Let me see.
Yeah, God made hell and then sent Lucifer and 1/3 of his angels into hell.
Oh, so he made hell. So hell. Let me see. What do we reference hell as? I wonder see if hell is actually referenced as like a bad place by like God or anywhere in the Bible. Because I know like it's referenced as a place that has suffering, but I just want to know the particular text.
Holy
It's
shit!
referred to as the lake of fire.
Do you see?
I want to make
like
sure
this
that
nigga
hell
just
is bad.
Yeah, because if God said hell is a good place and it's for like some refinement purpose, then I would believe that.
I
Because
want
what
to
God
make
said
sure
is
if hell is
word.
bad.
Yes. If I don't have something particularly stating from God or something that proves to me that it's bad, I'm not gonna say it's bad.
No,
like, what?
you lost.
Do you think eternal suffering is bad?
Wrap it up.
Do you think eternal suffering is bad?
Man, Kale, shut your
Eternal
crazy
suffering
ass.
is bad.
Yeah, do you think if you suffered forever that would be bad?
Get muted too, nigga.
Crazy
I mean, it
ass
just
nigga.
depends. It depends on the scenario.
If you suffered forever, would it be bad?
Yeah, it would depend on the scenario.
You can give me one scenario in which you suffering forever would be good.
Me suffering forever would be good.
Hey, yo, Marksy, shut your crazy ass.
Well, if God said so. Well, yeah, if God said so.
If God told you to suffer forever,
Yes,
you'd say that's good
if
for
God,
you?
if God said that me suffering was good, then it just be good. Like, what the fuck?
So
yes,
you
that's
would
how
enjoy
that
to
works.
suffer for you would enjoy suffering forever if God told you to.
Would I enjoy suffering? What? That's a whole different question. Would I enjoy being suffering? Under my understanding, it's like, I don't like feeling pain, right? I don't like suffering or whatever. But if God just said it, then it's so. Like, God doesn't tell lies, bro.
We get it out the
Like, what the fuck?
We get it out the hood. What's this for?
So to be clear, if you got raped, all else equal, if you got raped, would it be bad?
If I got raped, would it be bad?
All else being equal, like there's no God. Like let's suppose atheism. If God, if you just got raped, would that be bad?
If atheism was truth, then I don't know how I'd account for what makes something good or bad.
Would you like if you got raped if atheism were true?
Would I obtain like the sensation of pleasure rather than like pain and suffering?
Would you like if you got raped? It's a yes or no.
I would not find those sensations I would gain. I would not find the sensations I would gain from that particular event preferable. No, I would not find those things preferable.
And what makes that rape bad? What makes it bad?
What makes that rape bad?
Yeah.
Personally, I like
rape bad.
Why do you not want to get raped?
Why do I not want to get raped?
Yeah.
The suffering.
Oh, you're suffering. Okay, perfect. So would you not say the badness attributed to the rape here is you suffering?
I can say.
Hey, bitch, you know what? Let's dump this nigga.
So you agree. So you agree. Okay, so you agree the quality that makes this rape bad is you suffering, because that was your answer, right?
Because under subjective is if you say like a more.
I'm not a subjectivist, I'm a realist.
Well,
if I beat that pussy up,
you said hold on, stop. You said under where atheism is true. So our subjective morals.
Yeah, I'm an atheist, I'm a realist.
Yes, so our moral system just be contingent on feels good or bad to the majority. Now, I would say that if it's the case that I and this other person were alive, and I was feeling suffering, I don't think I would say that it was a morally good or bad thing. But under what's true, right? Like Christianity or stuff like that, even though we didn't even have to get into like Christianity for like this veganism discussion, you pushed it here. I would say that the action's wrong. Like that's just something I would feel. But would I be able to fully depict all the wrongness in the set thing? I don't know. Right? I'm not like I'm not like omnipotent.
So read your own Bible before you debate.
So to be clear here, you made some fucking crazy claim there. Basically, what you implied was if atheism is true,
crazy claims there.
If atheism is true, then more realism is false. Do you disagree with that proposition, or do you agree with that?
No, that wasn't the argument given. But I was just giving you how I understood the example, and just to clarify what I was agreeing to. in that specific scenario, the good or badness in that said thing, right? Because God's not real, I guess it'd be based off of some sort of like system, some sort of valences, right? So I'm saying that scenario, obviously it's not preferable, so there's gonna be more negative valences existing than positive valences. Now, did that conclusively prove that universally that good is boiled down to utility or bad is boiled down to utility? No, it's not. It's not proving that.
So to be clear here, do you think that that you can't make an objective moral judgment using valences?
I can't. Do I think that I can't?
Yeah. Do you think you can't make an objective moral judgment using valences?
I think there's been times where God has said that somebody has made a correct moral judgment in the Bible. So I think definitely it's possible for us to reason about what action would be good or bad. But would it be to the level? Would it be to the level of God?
Okay.
Maybe in certain cases.
I think you're really confused here. We're still under the hypothetical where atheism is, true. If it was the case that atheism is true, do you think you can't make an?
I don't care for if atheism. I don't care for if atheism is true because it's not relevant to the. It's not relevant to the point. It's not relevant to the point. It's not relevant to the initial point, which is that. Hold on. I'm not weaseling out the questions. No, I'm not weaseling. It's the fact that you're not able to prove. You're not proving. It's the case that utility and good or bad are the same thing. All you can do right now is bring up scenarios, which I never disagreed with, that in some cases, utility being achieved or not achieved can lead to different qualities of the said thing, meaning good or bad. So in some possible worlds, something may be good or bad if it occurred, or in another one it would be good or bad. Like, it's fine.
To be clear, for most of this conversation, I haven't even supposed that utilitarianism is true.
No, you did. You said wait. So you've not been. Oh, you're not tracking. You're not tracking. You've been trying to argue this whole time. No.
You can't.
No. You've been trying to prove this whole time that utility is the same thing as good or bad, and I actually give me evidence that it's not just positive or negative valence. But in this particular scenario, you just keep on repeating. Well-being's achieved, so I'd say it's good.
I can
obviously that's what you're gonna fucking believe, but if you're not gonna prove to me that good and bad is reducible down to valences, then it's not the same thing.
Good and bad, okay, but you agree the reason rape is bad is because someone suffers whenever they get raped, right?